Hi, guys. This is my first time using StreamYard, so hopefully this is working. Everybody cross their fingers. It says it's recording. I'm excited. I'm doing a little impromptu live coffee chat. This was originally going to be inside my new program, which is called We're in Business Now. I thought that name was adorable. Do you guys love it? It took me a long time to think of. That's always the hardest part for me about making a new program is coming up with the name. So this was going to be inside that program, but then I was like, let's just share it with everybody because I'm excited. And technically, the program hasn't started yet. It's not starting till mid-April. And so I just thought I would share it with everybody and it can live on my YouTube and inside the program and it'll all be good. So I'm excited because I've been brewing this up behind the scenes for a minute. I feel like I've kept it pretty close to my chest and under wraps. To be honest, it's a lot different than anything I've done before. I'm going to show you guys in a second exactly what I'm talking about, but it's different than anything I've ever done before. And I didn't know if I'd be able to pull it off. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I kind of just realized I'm not doing the community a service, I feel like, by waiting till all of it's done and then talking about how I made it. I felt like it would be more useful for you guys to see me working out in real time. Honestly, it's a little like vulnerable to do, just to be frank with you. I have no idea if this is going to work. The software is still not done. I'm going to show you guys in a second. We're developing software to go with this business, which is, I've never done that. Okay. But part of me always wants to be embodied in everything I teach, which means I like to teach things that I've done many, many times, that I've helped other people do many, many times, that I know for certain what I'm saying is right and true and works for the most part, right? I think there's a difference between teaching things you've just heard from other people and regurgitating, which is something I see a lot in all kinds of different spaces. I'm sure you guys see it too. And I don't want to be one of those people. I really want my work to be like embodied work. However, I also think there's a lot of value when I think about the lessons that I've learned and the things that have helped me the most. A lot of it is like just being around other business owners that are a little bit ahead of me and like seeing how they think and hearing how they think through things, right? Like, I'm in my own mastermind with other multiple six-figure online business owners and just hearing like what they're going through, how they're thinking through it, how they're problem solving, like that's the most useful part for me. So I was like, if I could do that for my community, I'm going to do it. Oh, hey, Rebecca's here. Hey, Rebecca. I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing good. I saw your post about being in Costa Rica earlier. It made me want to go to Costa Rica. So, okay, Faith, stay on the rails. This is why I can't do live because then I get like totally sidetracked. So anyway, let me show you guys the brand. I decided to just show you the behind the scenes. And this is like an idea I just had yesterday morning. I wish I could say this was like my genius branding business idea all along. It wasn't. I was gonna obviously share behind the scenes with the mastermind because I share behind the scenes with kind of everything with the mastermind. And so I knew there would be some kind of behind the scenes thing for the mastermind. I didn't really picture it being a course, but I decided to make a program about it. I feel like I already have a lot of things I can share with you guys and learning, and I feel like we can do it together. And you can either use it to launch your new business together with everybody in the 6 weeks, or to like refine your business idea. A lot of times it's good to just go back to basics. I can't tell you how many times I've rewritten the messaging for the mastermind. I've rewritten the core messaging for the mastermind like hundreds of times. So a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing, you can still use even if you already have a business. And if you're launching a new business, you can come watch me struggle and we can struggle together. Okay. So let me show you guys. This is a new brand. Are you ready? I feel like I should have like, I don't know, something special. Yay, new brand. Okay. This is the new brand. So Content Remix is going to be my new business. This is a completely new business. This is not under Faith Mariah. It's going to be separate everything, like separate Stripe account, separate website, separate email list, separate ad account, like completely separate. I'll talk about like why I decided to do that if you guys are interested. but it's going to be completely new. And it's also going to be not tied to my face. And it's also going to be a service based business. I've been interested in services I could offer. Like something I think about a lot is like, I wish I had the capacity to just sit with everybody in the community and help them do their stuff, but I can't do that, right? So then it's like, well, I can teach you how, but that's still hard. It's a hard way to learn. And so then I started thinking about maybe we could start making people's websites and making people's branding and like making this stuff for you, like done for you services, right? And then I started messing with AI with my own stuff, and I came up with this idea of like, what if we could use AI to offer like these types of services where we can actually do things for people in their business? And so that's kind of a big overview of the thought process. I'm going to share with you guys like 4 things I really thought about that I think will help you if you're thinking about offering a new business or a new product, like how to think through it. But I wanted to show you the brand first. So Content Remix is going to be, it's basically a software we're developing where you'll be able to drop like a long form video into a folder. It will go through our software. I'll show you the deliverables. This is like the branding I made. I made a YouTube video about how I did all this. If you want to make one of these, it's in there. These are the client deliverables. So they're going to get 2 emails from each video they give us. They'll get 2 emails. They'll get 5 Instagram text-based posts. These are going to be like quotes with their picture on it and their branding on it. Everything is very custom. So one of the things when I was doing market research was like, how do we stand out? Because there's certainly already things like you can do to do this type of stuff, right? And you can definitely do it yourself. I think our software will save you a lot of time because it's already set up, right? But it was like, what's going to be different about ours? And it was really important to me that everything was very custom. So something that's unique about our software we're building is that basically the more you use it, the more it learns your brand, and it actually is a feedback loop. So every time we process your stuff, you can tell the AI like what you like and what you don't like, and it will remember. And so over time, you can actually like build this brain that's like extremely custom for your voice, your brand, how you like it. When we onboard people, our team will basically take people through like a survey of their brand and how they want their brand to sound, and we'll get emails from them and input all of that. And then over time, the customer can actually input more and more feedback, and it will learn more and more over time. And so that's basically an overview of what it's going to do. It's going to spit out all this stuff, right? So you get Twitter posts, you're going to get Facebook posts, you're going to get whatever. Something I've been thinking about that I'll probably talk more about in the program as we go is my first phase is like just to get this fucking thing off the ground, right? Which is not an easy feat, like getting the software done and getting all of this launched. The software is very close to being finished. And so my thought was like to position this program, where I can show you guys like making the website and setting up the back end and developing the product and all of that too inside the program. I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sure it will come back to me. So that's the brand. Okay. It's going to be Content Remix. We're basically taking our content and remixing it into different pieces of content. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Something I've thought about after we get this thing off the ground was like, maybe we'll do some kind of long form video workshops, because for this to work, we really need like long form video or audio content. And so I was like, maybe we'll do like a monthly, like if you're in this as one of our customers, maybe we would do like a monthly workshop or monthly prompts or something to help them like do the video and the content every month. So that's an idea that would come later. I think something to think about that I've thought a lot is like, what is like 1.0 look like? Right. So to me, having the workshops and helping people make their long form video content and coming up with content ideas that are going to be really useful and helping people script their videos. That's not going to be in 1.0 when we launch, right? When I first launched this thing, it's just going to be the software. Later on, we might add, this doesn't have any video clips. This is all text-based stuff. So we might add like shorts, like reels, like you guys have seen clips of podcasts on reels. We might add video stuff. We might add, scheduling. This doesn't schedule your stuff. It just delivers it into a folder. So, I think something to think about if you're thinking about your business and you're thinking about what to offer is like there's kind of the vision for like eventually what we could do and all the things we could do, right? And but what's 1.0 look like? What is the first iteration going to look like? And can we bring that in and can we get that out and start bringing in money? Because the vision needs funding, right? I don't know about you guys, but my visions ain't cheap. So we need to bring this in and bring customers in to start bringing in funding. So I wanted to talk to you guys about these 4 kind of things I went through coming up with this idea. Something I think people have asked me in the mastermind quite a bit is like, which idea do I do first? How do you know which idea you're going to do? How do you decide what to act on? And I think that's a very good question. I have a lot of ideas. I'm sure you guys have a lot of ideas. I could come up with a new business idea 5 times a day. So then it's like, if you have all these ideas, like, how do you decide which one? Like, how do you know? And the first thing is like, I don't know that this is going to work. Like, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, like with this potential loss and risk. I don't know that this is going to work, but I think it will still be useful to me. And I'll show you why going through this framework. But the first thing I kind of did was like my intuition. This idea hit different. I could not let it go. I was obsessing over it. And it's not like I sat on it for a long time either. Like it just felt very right to me. It felt very inspired. It felt very exciting. And I wanted to see where it would go. Right. And so within, I don't know, 2 weeks of having this idea, I had the developer hired, I had the branding mapped out, I had the offer mapped out. And the thing was under development. And so, something I think about is like, I don't need time, like, doesn't necessarily make a better idea. Like, would this have been a better idea? Would the idea have been any different if I had sat on it for 6 months being like, "Should I launch it? Should I not launch it? Should I launch it? Should I not launch it?" I just don't think I need to do any of that. I'm gonna show you the rest of my decision-making process, but the first part of this was, like, I was very, very excited about this. Like, it was something I wanted to do. It was so different than anything I had ever done. Like, it's not a personal brand, it's not a coaching brand, it's a service. Um, it just, for whatever reason, I was really, really excited about it. I've been really nerding out over AI. You guys know, if you're in the mastermind, I've been giving them like little custom AIs and all this stuff I've been building. But I just really loved it, if that makes sense. So that was like the first thing, was like my intuition. I don't think that this would have come to be or would be coming to be if I hadn't been so aligned with it. Okay. So then the second thing I thought about was like the potential loss and risk. So something I did think about when I was making this decision, it wasn't like I just got excited and then went and did it. I don't want you guys thinking that. Like, I put a lot of thought into it. I just didn't have to do it over a long time. I didn't have to like think and think and think and think for months and months and months. It's like I could just spend a week thinking through this stuff and then make the decision if I wanted to do it or not. And I think there's something that's been very valuable for me, at least, in that, like, there's something for me that works really well with speed. I don't do well when I start overthinking. It makes me very bogged down, right? Matt's the opposite. Matt, my husband, that's like one of the first times I've said that online. Is that so cute? We just got married. My husband, Matt, spends a lot of time thinking through things, right? And it is useful to him because then when he moves, he's like very aligned with it, but he kind of waits to start and he gets his brain on board and he gets all lined up and he goes. And there's like a longer gap in the beginning for him most of the time when we're doing things than for me. So it's not necessarily wrong or right, but for me, there's something useful about speed. Like, I think there's something useful about being an entrepreneur and being able to execute on ideas. So one of the things I thought through a lot, right? Again, not over a long time, but I did think a lot about this. I just didn't do it over months. I just did it over a week. Is the potential loss and risks. I wrote out a very rough budget. I had no idea what this software would cost to develop. And to be honest, the quotes I got were all over the place. They were from like $2,000 to like $20,000. So you can really spend as much or as little building a business as you want. And that's kind of true with any business, right? It's like you could spend $10,000 building a website. You could spend like $30 building a website. So like, how much does it cost to start a business? It depends on your budget, right? And so the budget, to me, the budget comes from my financial capacity and my financial ability to absorb risk. The budget doesn't come from random expenses, or the business doesn't dictate the budget. The idea doesn't dictate the budget. Like, to be frank, like, my bank account dictates that budget. There's only a certain amount of money I can afford to lose. And I don't know that this is going to be profitable. First of all, I don't even know if this software will work. Like, I think the developer I hired will be able to do it, but I don't know that. And then I don't know that we'll be able to sell it. Like, I don't know. AI also is changing everything so fast. By the time we get this done, ChatGPT could be doing this for freaking free. I don't know. So, there is risk in any business you guys start, a coaching business or a business like this. And so I really looked at, to keep my business financially healthy, how much loss could we afford to absorb? Right. And I don't ever risk the financial health of my business, the financial health of my family. I only risk up to a certain amount, right? And so I thought a lot about, if this doesn't work and it never becomes profitable, what can I afford to actually lose? And that, to be honest, is how I figured out the budget. And I think it's important to think through those things. Like, of course, I thought about the best case scenario. Of course, I think it has the capacity to make money, but I also understand most businesses fail. This is an area I have never touched, I have never done, and there's a lot of unknowns in anything that we're doing. And so I just always think it's important to invest and understand. People will talk about like, oh, business isn't spending money, business is an investment, right? Which I agree with, but I also don't think it is a high risk investment. Okay. It's not a guaranteed investment. It's not like putting money in a retirement account. You're not like guaranteed or even likely to get any return, because most businesses fail. So then, knowing that it's a high risk investment, that's the part they leave out, right? It's like, how much can you afford to put in a high risk investment? And this, to me, it's a much riskier investment than investing money back into the business I already have. The business I already have is like a proven business model. It generates money. We have a fairly good idea of how to sell it and how to market it. This is a riskier. It's a higher risk investment. And so I think that's important for you guys to think about. I don't think you guys should decide how much money you're spending on courses or programs or software just because you see a launch or you see a software. It's like, you should already know that in your mind, what your budget is each month or each year or each quarter, however you want to do it. How much can you spend on education, right? Like, I don't just spend whatever on coaching. I spend a percentage of our profit, and that's how I figure mine out. If you don't have a profit yet, you have to figure out, well, this is a high risk investment. How much can I afford to put in a high risk investment? And how much loss can I potentially absorb and still be financially healthy as an individual? These are important things to think about when we're in capitalism, because financial health, it really is linked to, like, first of all, your personal safety, your health. Like, healthcare is not free here. Like, we have real, just fundamental human living concerns that we have to take into consideration. And if you can never risk that, right? To me, you just never risk that. So that was the second thing. It was like, I'm excited about it. Yay. It felt different to me than other ideas. I had that intuition piece. I looked at the loss and like, could we afford a loss? Like, and I can, to like a certain extent. I don't have unlimited funding. Okay. My business I have, to run is expensive. But I have some savings sitting there. I was like, I could take this money out of savings, put it into this, and hopefully pay that money back into savings. It's business savings, not my personal savings. And if that money doesn't get paid back into savings, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's not going to directly impact my clients I already have, my family, my bills it's not going to impact any of that. It's just like, my savings was here and it'll be here. So that was the risk I was taking, was like taking some of that money out of the business savings and potentially having to pay it back out of other money from other offers or other businesses that I have to pay that back if this one doesn't pay back. That was the risk I was personally taking, and I decided I was willing to take it. Okay. The third thing, like, I considered when we were making this is, like, my capacity, right? So this is kinda like financial capacity, right? The loss and the risk, the lost time too, but really I would for me, the biggest risk was cash flow, and that's probably gonna be the biggest risk for most of you guys too. There could be other, like, risking, I don't know, your reputation or confidence if you put something out and fail at it. There's risks that way, self-esteem and that kind of stuff. But for me, the biggest risk was financial. The next thing I looked at was like my capacity, meaning like how much time do I have to put in this thing? Like, what is my actual capacity and the team's capacity, like to hold this stuff? And in my mind, too, also looking at when we would hire and what we would hire for and what that would look like. And my vision for it is like it doesn't have my face on it. It's not tied to me. You're really going to be buying into working with the content remix team, not buying into Faith Mariah, right? And so it is a lot different than anything I've ever sold before. And I had to think about what's my capacity for the learning curve. I just expect to be steep. I expect it to be hard. I expect kind of anything I do in the business to cost more than I think and to be more difficult than I think. So it's like if it costs me more money than I think and it's harder than I think, like, do I have the capacity to absorb those losses? And the capacity really for that I'm talking about here is like for me, it was really time, right? And for a lot of us, that is a big consideration. It's like in the season of life you're in right now, do you have the capacity? Last year, I wouldn't have had the capacity to execute something like this because Matt and I were traveling 10 months out of the year. We were in a different house almost every 30 days for like almost a whole year. Like I just didn't have the capacity to do a project like this. My capacity was kind of maxed out with the business I already have. Now I looked at my kind of my life and what was going on in the business and what was going on in my personal life. And not only did I have the capacity to take something like this on, it was like I was wanting the challenge. It was like I was wanting to do something new, right? To do something different. Probably some of you guys feel like this. There's been times where maybe I had even the time capacity, but I didn't have the emotional capacity. I was processing, things we all process, like grief and illness and family issues and all the things we go through in life. And I wouldn't have had the emotional capacity, right? There's times where I wouldn't have had the financial capacity where, the mastermind was expensive to run and I was still learning to sell it. And so looking at all these things, I was like, yeah, I have the time capacity. I think I can hold it, get it off the ground, and then the vision is like, I'll do a big push on it this year where it's gonna be mostly me running it, and then I will make the SOPs and train people and bring them in as we have cash flow, right? So something about how I do business and how I'm comfortable doing business is I scale as the business brings in money. This is like opposite than what a lot of people will tell you. And I think there's both ways kind of work, right? So you'll hear a lot of like startups do this, right? Where it's like they put a lot of money out, they'll put $1 million, hire staff, bring all these people in and see if they can get the business off the ground and see if they can get it to go. I am a small business. I'm probably always going to be a small business. I just don't see that as something I really want to do. And so the way I scale and build businesses is like as the business makes more money, we add more people to the team. As the business makes more money, we add more services, right? So as this brought in more money, I could take some of that money and reinvest back into the development if we wanted to add video clips or we wanted to add scheduling where it's like, we'll cut all your stuff and schedule it for you. I could take, as it makes more money, I could take it and invest it into staff where it's like, you're going to onboard clients, you're going to offboard clients, you're going to do the inbox, right? But this is just part of how I think I like to mitigate risk. And because I've grown up very poor and I have very thoughtful with how I spend my money is what I would say. I don't like to overspend. It's like the business needs to pay for itself. And if I want an employee or I want a course or I want software or I want a new developer, the business has to pay for it, right? So I've kind of invested this lump of startup money in there that I took out of my savings. And it's like, let's see if we can get it to go. I will probably invest more into marketing. I'll show you guys behind the scenes of that. If you're in, we're in business now, I'll show you guys the marketing and the ads and the strategy and stuff we're going to use to grow it. It's a lot different than what I've done in the past and why I want to do it that way. But for the most part, it's just going to be that lump investment. And then anything else we want to do, the business has to pay for. I'm not in a hurry to make it profitable, like necessarily. Like it needs to pay for itself, but I'm not in a position where this has to make money in the first 3 months, 6 months, even the first year. And I'm going to talk about this part, the reasons why and why that is, and my reasons for doing it, right? So when we're talking about like what ideas do you execute on and what ideas do you sit on, do you wait on, like which ideas do you do, right? I think about why do I want to do this? Like, and for me, the reasons that I wanted to do this business and this idea specifically was that I wanted the lessons out of it, right? I have learned a lot from the businesses I've already had, but that learning curve like kind of started to level off where it was like the first couple years of the business being multiple six figures was like, I mean, like fire hose learning on the back end, on managing a team, on hiring, on making SOPs, on just being able to execute that program month after month with all the moving pieces, all the Zoom links, the calendar, like all of the things we have to do. Like that their learning curve was very steep. But then once we built the systems, it starts to level off, which also increased my capacity, right? But a big reason why I decided to move on this idea was that I do think it's going to be hard. And I do think there's a good like chance it's not even going to work. But to me, it's like about I want the lessons. Like I need to do new things to be able to be a leader in the industry, to be able to serve my clients the best I can. Like I need to be putting myself out there and getting new experiences. And the return on courses and programs like also started to level off. So there was a time where like if I invested in a $500 course or $1,000 course, even a $2,000 course, I was learning new strategies that I had no idea about. And I was taking that and like directly implementing it. And I would always get a return on that money. Not only would I make that money back, I would make it back plus some. And I did that over and over, like kind of many times. And then when I started investing in higher end programs, I invested in a $20,000 certification and a $25,000 mastermind. I just didn't get the return on those. And what I saw was like the return on program learning started to level off. There was only kind of so many strategies and techniques I could take from other people and leverage that way. And the return wasn't going to be in these high-end programs and high-end masterminds. It was going to be in like getting in there and learning this stuff at a deeper level. And so the reason why I think it was so appealing to me and the reason why I decided to move on it is like, even if we lost the money, which I'll show you guys the budget in the program. It was not like a lot of money to start this up. It's not like tens of thousands of dollars or anything like that. It's not even $10,000. It's like way less than that, way less than you would think, I think. To me, what I will learn from this experience is going to be more than I can get from any $1,000 course. Cause to be honest, I've taken all of them and like deeply studied from, I think, most people in the industry you can always learn more, right? But do you guys get what I'm saying? It's not like I'm saying I can't learn more from programs. I still am in programs with a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys see me like asking questions from people and still interacting in programs. It's not like that. It's just that the return on them and for my time investment is less because I know more and I have more experience. This is going to teach me a lot more in a shorter amount of time, right? And to me, that's a good reason of doing it because there's a few things like I know for sure about me. It's that I always want to be an entrepreneur. I never want to work for someone else again. And if I always want to be an entrepreneur, this space is changing. Like the internet is changing. And I think you really have to be willing to try new things like now more than ever and to learn from doing. Like I'm always like the best lessons I learned from my business even though I learned a lot from the programs and I learned from the strategies, and I think those investments were great, and, like, most of them I got a great return on and were wonderful. The best lessons I've ever learned were from being in my business, like, for real, not, like, hypothetical, like, doing, being, like, seeing, like, executing, like, not hearing about other people executing, not thinking about how I'm gonna execute, executing. And so, if I know I always wanna be an entrepreneur and I know that the space is changing, I just feel like I have to be able to develop skills faster, and I have to be able to develop skills so I can also help my community make those pivots as well. I see AI changing things. I see, like, the space is gonna be a lot different. We're already seeing a lot of those changes, but I think in the next 5 years, it's gonna be a lot, and I want my community to win. Like, I don't want people in my community, like, not making money. I want all of them able to make all the money they want and build their businesses and do the things they want. And so I think enable to for me to be able to do that, I have to be putting myself in new situations to get that deeper level of learning. And this was really my biggest reason why. Right. So it's almost like instead of taking those thousands of dollars and hiring a coach or hiring a consultant or hiring a branding expert, I'm taking those thousands of dollars and I'm going to put it directly into an asset that we build. And maybe it will work and maybe it won't. But even if it doesn't work, I'm going to learn a lot, probably a lot more than I would from hiring another coach or doing a course, just because I've taken so many over the last, I don't even know how long I've been doing this now, 7 years, and I am a learner. So I take many courses every month. So, I just see this as like a deeper way of learning. Instead of taking this money and putting it in a mastermind, it's like, let's take it, put it in a new business. Let me get a whole new set of skills, a whole new set of experience, a whole new set of lessons, a whole new like perspective I can offer when I'm coaching, a whole new like asset of experience, right? That I can either put into my clients, into other businesses that I start, into this business, and maybe it will be a huge hit. Who knows? I just got the mock up back from the developer. I'll probably show you guys some of that stuff in the program if you're interested. I got the mock-ups back from the developer. I think it looks like really slick, and like I'm really proud of like what we developed and what we put together and what we were able to think through together. And so that's that. I want to bring you guys on this journey. So I decided yesterday, my poor team, my poor team. If you guys were like, wait, what is happening? Yes, you and everybody. Okay. Yesterday, I just was like, I want to show like and document it. I want to like document what I'm doing. I want to show the behind the scenes. I want to bring people along with how I'm thinking things through and why I'm making decisions. Not because I think everything I do is like perfect or right. I just think it can be useful to see like the behind the scenes. And I think not a lot of people will show you like the real honest like ups and downs of what it is. And especially on something like this, because this is a huge pivot for me. And it's something I really see as a separate business. It is B2B, but I really see it as like, we're going to go get a different audience and like build its own assets. Right. And I'm sure there'll be some cross pollination, but I don't really see it scaling with Faith Mariah. I do see it as being a different customer avatar that will be over there. So that's what I'm up to. The program is called We're in Business Now, and it's going to be me showing you this stuff, but I'm also going to create exercises and assets that I've done that you guys can do too. So if you watch that YouTube video, you'll see how I made like my branding guide. I've made a lot of different assets like that where I have like taglines, and I want to show you guys how to set up the AI to do your email. I want to show you guys how to uh and in a way where it does it like at a very high quality, not like where it spits out like something chat GPT, but like, I want to show you like all the behind the scenes, the SOPs we're going to make, the setting up the back end of the website, building the new website, the client onboarding. We're going to have all different new client onboarding, how we think that through, how we set that up, the software on the back end, hiring people. I can talk about how I hired, developers and how I think about hiring people and deciding what we're going to invest in. There's a lot of things I'm like thinking through in real time. And like I'm saying, I didn't know how I was gonna share it, but I wanna make it into a program. I think it will help me too because you guys know, like, I'm a chaotic kinda lunatic. Like, the amount of stuff I'm doing right now, honestly, behind the scenes is kinda, like, unprecedented for me. That's just the season that I'm in. I'm not always like that, but right now, I'm, like, really in a season of really loving working a lot and working on a lot of different projects. And I think it will help me to do the program because it will make me think through step by step, like, what did I do? Like, even like looking, because I started outlining the first modules of how I even got here, because now we're finishing the development of the software. We're going to start building the onboarding. And it made me kind of think and be like, wait, what did we do? Like when we were starting. And like it was helpful for me to go back and think through that process step by step. So I think documenting it will help me too get more of that result I'm after, which is experience and learning, right? And to me, like I'm saying, even if it fails, it is an investment in my education as an entrepreneur. Because if I know I always want to be an entrepreneur, to me, I'm like the best place to invest is like in becoming a better entrepreneur and getting better skills. And like, what better way to get entrepreneurial skills than to launch a fucking business, right? So I'm gonna do it and we'll see how it goes. Like I'm saying, I have don't know how long it will take to get profitable. It'll be interesting. And I'll definitely share with you guys, when we get our first clients and what our kind of expenses look like. Right now, it's just bleeding money, right? There's no profit coming in, and there's no profit coming in the foreseeable future because we still have to beta test. We're gonna, before it goes public, like we start bringing a lot of people into the system, we're gonna put like 10 people in it as like beta testers and charge them basically what it will cost. It costs me money to run the software, right? So we'll charge that and like some of the development fees. It'll be really affordable. We'll put 10 people in there, um, probably for at least 2 or 3 months and really hash out the system and make sure it's working good and make sure our processes are working good before it goes live. So, at that point, I'm looking at a good 5, 6 months altogether of just investing money with like not even a chance of getting a return. It also really like opened my eyes to like there's so little risk involved in like if you guys want to launch a coursing program or you want to launch a course, like I'm going to talk about this more in the program when we talk about like evaluating risk and stuff. The risk is so low. A lot of it is just time. It's just, and I know like we're short on time too, but when you're thinking about the risk of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, a coaching program or a course, like the risk is very low, and what you'll learn from putting it out there, even if nobody buys, what you'll learn is so much more than what you're going to get from a course or a program, and I think this is like kind of what I've been after in the mastermind the whole time is like learning by doing. Like you guys go do and then come back to coaching and let's process it and go do and then come back. And if you're stuck and you can't go do, come to coaching and like go do. But what I've been after the whole time is like trying to help people get more of that experience of executing, because I just think like, yeah, I want to tell you the strategy as I want to teach. And like I'm saying, I want to learn that stuff from other people too. But you can't really learn how to do it like until you do it, if that makes sense. Like, it's just like you can't learn to swim without getting in the pool. Like that analogy, you guys have heard me say that before. It's kind of that. So that's what I'm after. Hopefully that inspires you if you've been sitting on an idea of getting your business out, if you're worried about it failing. Um, I just don't I've now been like doing this stuff for so long. I'm like pretty unbothered about it. Like I want to get that money back, but I'm also like, if I don't get the money back, I'll just take the skills and get it in a different way or do something else, or we'll start a different business. I'm like, this one will either cash flow or the next one will cash flow and it'll all buff out. Um, Investing in a certain amount, like also, keeps my nervous system calm. I think if I had invested like $10,000, let's say, into development, I think I'd be a lot more pressed. Like, I don't think my nervous system or my bank account is really able to handle that level of risk right now. Right. And so I kept the financial investment as like low as I could, and kept the risk as low as I could so that I can afford to give it time. I'm not like rushing the developer. If I had spent $10,000, I'd be like, we need to get a return. We need to get a return. I need to sell this. You need to get it done. I don't feel like that. I'm like, yeah, take your time, like get the bugs out. Like let's run it again. Let's look at it again. Um, let's get it like really make sure it's solid. And I feel like very unpressed and unrushed, which is a nice place to be in. I've done it both ways. I've certainly like done parts of my business like the other way too, where it's like we need to bring in cash. And I think you can do it either way. So that's that. Okay. I'm going to stop. I don't want to get too rambly, but those are kind of the things I was thinking about when it's like, which idea do you decide to do? Which idea do you decide to run with? Like, how do you know when you have so many ideas, which one you're going to execute on? For me, it was like my intuition, what I really felt called to do. Like, to be honest, that's how I make a lot of my decisions. I'm much more of like I am head based in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, I am a go with your gut girly. Like, it's how I've always done business. The potential loss and risk. So, and what can we absorb, right? Looking at our bank account, looking at what's coming in, looking at what's coming out, my capacity, like how much time and energy, it can be exhausting to think through problems. And a new startup, a new business, all it is solving a bunch of problems every day. So you got to sit here and like problem solve all day. That's what it is. And so it's like, do I have the capacity and energy to do that on top of everything else? And then why am I doing it? Like, what are the reasons? And to me, it really was like the learning and the education. And I didn't want my skills to get dull kind of sitting on selling the same things I've always sold. I could launch another coaching program and make money on it. I don't have like any doubt about that. But is that really going to give me a new skill set as an entrepreneur? Is that really going to give me the learning and the perspective I'm after? I think that there are kind of bigger, better lessons for me. And I'm willing to me, it's worth the money to pay to get them. It might not be to you. I think it's like important to know why you're doing it and is it worth the money? Right. And to me, I was like, yeah, it would be worth it for me to pay $5,000 to learn the amount of lessons I'm going to learn from going through this process of trying to get the business off the ground. So that's that. If you're in the mastermind on the annual plan, you guys are going to get access to the new program for free. But I'm also running a beta special price on the new program right now. It's 111 and it'll be sold for 297 once it's all done in package. So if you guys want to come do it live, the program really, most of my programs, when I do them live, the group kind of dictates a lot of what it is, right? It's like, I obviously have a lot of ideas of stuff I want to make for you guys and do for you guys. But then people ask questions or stuff comes up and I'll add those things too, and we'll get a different idea. I want to make a bunch of resources, checklists, exercises. I want you guys to leave that program with some really tangible assets that you can use. And I want to share with you the behind the scenes of how I'm thinking all this stuff out in real time as it comes up and what it's actually like, and the highs and the lows that inevitably come with like doing a big project like this. That's all going to be in that program. The mastermind annual plan, you guys just get it as a bonus. If you've already bought the annual plan, you don't have to buy anything. You just get it. If you want an affordable way to work with me, I think that this is a good way to do it. And I want to be like pretty hands-on in this program. I don't, it's $111. So I can't promise I'm going to like be in there holding your hand the whole time. But what I'll say is like, I'm pretty present with the community. Okay. And I think the community will be really awesome. All of us working on this stuff together and building things for our brands together and thinking through the messaging, the marketing, the positioning, I want to take you guys through market research, like finding gaps in the market, how I think through all that. I want to really take you through the whole process that I'm doing and document it for myself. So that way, when I do it next time, I can do it even better. Right. So I think it'll be a great program. I'm really excited about it. I just had the idea yesterday. That's why the stuff was like, I sent out a Notion board that wasn't even published yesterday. Like, that's how like excited and like inspired the idea was to do a program with it and do a behind the scenes program. I had the idea and I was like, oh, I have to do that. That's going to be so fun. And so I just put it, I put a draft of the sales page in Notion and I emailed it out all within like, I don't know, 3 hours of having the idea, making the checkout page, sending it out. maybe 4 hours, probably more like 3 hours. But when I emailed it out, I hadn't published the Notion page. So then we had all these emails from you guys being like, Faith, like we can't get the the info. So if you had that problem, the link should be working now. I did publish it this morning when we got your guys' email. So I just think it's funny, but it also goes to show like things don't have to be perfect. You can take like inspired action and see what happens, right? And I just think it'll be fun to do, so I'm gonna do it. Do I think like this this course like is gonna be a huge revenue generating, life-changing program for me? No, but I think it will be fun and I want to do it with the community. And I try to do at least like one course a year for the mastermind as like a surprise bonus. So I thought this would be a good way to do that. And it's stuff I'm going to be doing anyway. So I hope that you'll join. It'll be fun. If you have any questions, you can always email info@faithmariah.com and either me or the team will get with you and make sure, it's a good right fit for what you're doing. But if you want like kind of an actual step by step, like even like I'm even going to talk about like the bank account, like setting up bank accounts and the business structure and how I thought through all that. And I'll just give you guys, it's going to be candid. It's like me, right? So it's going to be like, my candid kind of thoughts about it, but I'll give you guys all that and anything else you guys are curious about. I'm happy to share with you. I think it will be like a fun experience for all of us to do together. I thought it looked like Notion. Yeah. If you guys want, I was going to show, maybe I'll do a video in the mastermind about how to launch a program in 3 hours or less. You guys want that? Oh, I could do it on YouTube. I've been thinking about YouTube videos. You guys want like a how to launch a program in 3 hours by Faith Mariah? I'll put on there, make sure you publish the sales page before you send the email. But I just hope that that's an example to you guys. Like something like that before would have been so embarrassing to me that we sent the link and it like wasn't published. And now I'm just like so unpressed about it because I'm like, the people that want to buy it are still going to buy it. And like, no harm, right? It's like no harm done. It's still there. It's still going to be there. Like, I just hope that is an example to you guys, like don't worry so much about getting everything perfect, right? I could have spent a day building the sales page for that thing. I could have done that, right? And I thought about it, but because my calendar's already full this week, and this is an idea I just had yesterday, I was like, okay, if I can get it out in like 3 hours, then I can do it. But I don't have time to like sit there and make a whole bunch of assets this whole week. And a lot of you guys have kids and other things going on, and you don't either. And so, all I did was like make the Notion page with like, here's what we're going to do. I shot a little video and I made a payment link. And then I put a confirmation email. Like, so anyway, I hope that's helpful to you guys. Get out what you got to get out. Let's all do it. Come join the program with us. And I will see you guys hopefully soon. Bye, everybody. Have a good day too.